All right, everyone. It is Saturday, June 28th of 2025. Welcome back to another family education and support group with your host, Param. Very grateful to be here for another Saturday. Hope you are doing well wherever you are, however you may be watching or listening, whether it's live or recorded later. Thank you for your time. So let me go ahead and tell you what we do here while some of us are trickling on and getting ready for this talk. This is a talk that is intended for anybody who firsthand or secondhand has ever experienced pain as a result of addictions, mental illness, trauma, or grief and loss. And it's open to participation. You can write your questions. I'll do my best to answer in real time. Each week we have a different topic. And it's something that I feel is needed for individuals to be able to gain a little bit of insight and understanding about themselves, the recovery process, and what are some things that they can do to improve the quality of it. So there's one thing that I believe, and that's the possibility of human transformation. So I believe that every human being, regardless of who they are, where they're from, has the ability to transform their life at any given moment they choose to. And my hope is that moment for you is right now. So let me see what we got. We got some comments here. So for example, my friend Jim, he can write something, good morning. Jessica say good morning. And if someone has a question, they can ask questions, and pretty much I'll do my best to answer in real time and give you some feedback, and we go from there. So today we're going to talk about the main topic of this channel, which is this thing called recovery. Okay. Recovery is something that is, I believe we're all recovering from something that takes away the pain. We all are. There's this doctor named Gabor Mate who came up with that phrase, we're all recovering from something that takes away the pain. And when I sit down and think about it, it's true. The human experience, the experience of life is filled with, it has some joy in it, but there's also pain. It's the other side of the same coin. And some of the negative consequences of those events, they have lasting effects on us. So we're recovering from them. So whether it's addictions, trauma, grief and loss, toxic relationships, consequences of bad choices made by self or others, whatever it is, we're all recovering from it. And today I want to give you the 7 keys on how you can personally recover from the pain in your life. And I just did this talk this morning for our program participants, and now I'm doing it for you because recovery, even though you might not be firsthand in it, you've also experienced and endured some challenges as a result of somebody else going through the process. And, I got my mom and dad here too, just so you know. I can't lie about anything because they're here, the truth seekers. So let's get into it. Now, I'm big on acronym systems. So we got the word recover, right? RECOVER. And we are going to do a little bit for each one of those. So the very first one. Oh, let's see what Terry's saying. I got to give Terry some respect. Would like to say good morning to all and thank y'all for being a part of my recovery as well as yours. See, and that's what I mean by recovery community. Recovery is something that, even though I don't know Terry and Terry doesn't know me, and you don't know Terry and Terry doesn't know you, we have this common thread that goes through us. And the moment we interact and talk to each other, we just get each other. Judgment goes away. Criticism goes away. Our support increases, our love increases, our compassion increases, because we know what it's like to be in the depths, in the darkness. And we know what it's like to have someone support us when we need it, right? And that's the beauty of recovery. And thank you for being here, my friend Terry. And let's get into it. So the first one, the R of recover, is this thing that's called remembering why you started. Now, why is this one important? At least from my perspective, they're all important, but this one's the first one, is because each one of you has a very unique reason of why you started the recovery process. Some of you might be doing this because of a look a loved one gave to you when you did it one more time. They just kind of rolled their eyes and just were disgusted by what they were seeing. Some of you might do it because someone from the court system said, hey, we're taking your children away from you. Some of you might be doing it because of employment. A boss said, we are letting you go. We can't take this anymore. Some of you are doing it because the judge said, yeah, well, great timing, Jim. Right when I said, some of you are doing this because the judge, Jim wrote court. The judge said, either you go into some type of recovery for yourself, a program for yourself, get some treatment for yourself, or you can serve X amount of years behind these metal bars like an animal. Some of you are doing it because you looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I can't live like this anymore. And whatever your reason is, my friends, you have to remember why you started it. You can't forget it. Because the moment you forget it, and guess what addiction wants to do? Addiction is waiting for you to forget it, so it can just get going again. You know, in the rooms of AA, oftentimes we say, when we're in the room, our addiction is in the parking lot doing push-ups. It's just getting stronger. So when we come out, it's just waiting for a moment to jump us. And if we're ready and prepared, it won't impact us because we're always going to be surrounded with people. We're in the middle of something. We're in the middle of the herd. Addiction can't penetrate that. But if you're isolated, weak by yourself, somewhere in the corners, in a moment of weakness, you forget why you started. This one drink isn't that big of a deal. Going to that place is not that big of a deal. Lying over here just a little bit isn't that big of a deal. And before you know it, how did I get here again? How did I end up in the same spot I didn't want to be so desperately a week, a month, a year ago? So remember why you started. Tony Tone, strength is in the numbers. Here we go. Tony Tone's here. We're full of counselors, by the way, heavy-hitting counselors. These guys are all really solid dudes. If you have any questions, it's not just me. So Jessica's, Terry's of the world, if you guys have any questions, Jim and Tony can also give some insight and feedback. These are tried and tested and true soldiers in and out of the group rooms. And that's another nice analogy here, Jim said. You know, early it was freedom from prison. So remember why he started was freedom from prison. It's a pretty damn it's a good reason. And by the way, I want you to know this. There's some people that's not a good enough reason for them. So just because for Jim, freedom from prison was the reason to start, for some people it isn't. Because they're given that opportunity, yet they end up in prison. So Jim said the next one was the freedom to live life. You know, it's to be free. How free do you want to be? Remember our friend Gabe used to say that, Jim. And let's see what our friend Terry said here. Parole, but now I do it because I get to, as well as I want to start my day off with Narcotics Anonymous meeting. I do 15 and 17 meetings a week, you know, so that's it's for him. NA meetings, by the way, for those of you who don't know, they're very, very, very similar to AA meetings. The text is a little different, the format's a little bit different, but the premise and the foundation of it is very similar in terms of why you go there and what you get out of it, how you work the program, all that kind of stuff. It's very similar. And you know how many meetings someone does a week, it's a personal thing. You know, sometimes there's some weeks that I might need 10 meetings. There's some weeks that I'm okay getting by with 1 or 2. So I want you to know that there's no gold standard for it. I do believe that when you're going through crises in life and you're having a hard time staying clean, the more meetings you go to, the better. But it's not that if you stop going to 10, 12 meetings a week, then you're going to relapse. It's not correlated like that. And Tony, yep, doing it for you. Started off for someone else, though. A little someone in your life, little Miss Maddie. So the next one we have here, my friends, is, where did it go? Early expectations. You know, I do this talk often, frequently, and I share this specific one often, frequently. You want to know why? Because it's one that gets people often and frequently. What I mean by that is this is one that unfortunately causes people to relapse, causes people to say, I'm getting off this path, because they get clean, they get sober, and they have this weird anticipation, or sorry, cut off my head. They have this weird anticipation or expectation that their life is just going to get better. I stopped doing drugs and alcohol, everything should get better. Well, all you did was stop the bleeding. Now, the reasons why you were hurt in the first place, and the reason why you were broken and why you were even bleeding in the first place, guess where that is going to be coming? It's going to hit you in the back of the head and you're going to feel it. So early on in recovery, the primary thing you got to do is just rest and heal your body. Rest and heal your mind. Honestly, it's one of the most important things to do. Even in 12-step programs, not even treatment. Just go think about the non-treatment world. They're saying when someone's new, just let them be. Just let them be for a little bit. Connect with them, talk to them, keep them engaged, but just let them be. Don't add too much stuff to their plate because their plates are already so full. And people, when they don't get the life that they thought they're going to get right off the bat, they say this recovery stuff doesn't work. And they eject, fly out of the airplane, not knowing how close they were to being able to land that plane anywhere they wanted to. That's a pretty deep analogy if you really think about it. But so you want to shave those things. So if you're trying to recover, one of the keys is to really, really curb and watch. Be careful for those early expectations you have. Like, let's say you have relational problems. Your significant other doesn't trust you and you get sober and you're like, well, you should trust me now. Good luck. It might take a year or 2 years for that person to regain trust in your actions and words again. So, I mean, your words for sure, but even your actions, they don't know if what you're saying is even true. You're going to the meeting, they don't know. And you get pissed off because they don't trust you. Right? So these early expectations are important. Expectations will kill you. Expectations are premeditated resentment. See, these are all counselors. It's a choice today, and I appreciate everyone's experience, strength, and hope. Yeah, these are solid dudes, man. A lot of them have they've walked the same line that you walked. How about that? The next one is something called to care for your recovery. There is a kind of like a viral video that goes around that the lady just over and over says nobody cares, and I mean, on the surface level, I could agree with some parts of that, but there are people that care. I mean, there are people that have the same last name as you, people that you call your friends or like family of choice. There are children, there's peers, there's just loved ones. There are people that care about you. But the reality of it is when they're doing their own thing, they're thinking about their own life. So at the end of it, no one really cares about what you're doing in your recovery when no one's around except you. You got to care for this thing. So this is the time of the year. Once a year, I share the crystal ball analogy that I learned from this counselor named Siamak Afshar. Rest in peace. I actually have a video with him in our YouTube channel. I think he showed up like 45 minutes late to a 1 hour thing, but we had a good conversation. If you look it up. But so he says recovery is like a beautiful crystal ball, like this piece of priceless glass, we'll call it. And if I wake up in the morning and this priceless piece of glass is right next to me, what I do is I make sure that it's nice and clean and shiny. Whatever dust got on it overnight, I clean it up so it's pristine. And then I go and have some breakfast. I take it with me and gracefully put it down on the table and put a little cloth over it so it doesn't get dirty while I eat. When I go to the car to go to work, I put it in the passenger seat. I put the seatbelt over it so it doesn't move. And I drive to work making sure that my pristine glass ball is nice and clean. I get to work right next to me at the workstation. I go home, run some errands. I make sure that this thing is nice, tight, clean, safe. And at the end of the night, when I'm about to sleep, I grab a microfiber cloth and I start cleaning every single tarnish that might have gone on this thing, finger stains, marks, anything, dirt that might have gone on this throughout the day. And I fall asleep well knowing that this thing is nice and clean. Or you have this priceless piece of glass. And the first thing in the morning you do, you get out of bed, your elbow hits it and it rolls over. You brush your teeth, you eat your breakfast, you're looking on your phone, you grab the ball, you run in the car and just kind of toss it in the passenger seat. You drive, smoke, vape, whatever the heck you do in your car. And you get to work, you forget the ball in the car, you come back, it's just hit with so much sunlight and warmth and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of warped it a little bit. And you go home, run your errands. You don't even know where it is. You're like, what the hell happened to my ball? By the end of the night, you go home, you're so tired, you just kind of pass out. The ball has all of this dirts and stains and tarnishes and all the imperfections on it now. Eventually, if you live that second way over time, one day you wake up or you look at this thing and it's just a dirty piece of glass that's bothering you. It's a hindrance. So you know what we do with something that has no value for us? We grab it and we toss it. And when you toss it, it shatters on the ground into 4,000 little pieces. And that is the difference between caring and not caring for your recovery. So I don't know which version you subscribe to. I don't know how often you clean this thing. Good thing to do it on a nightly basis. I mean, if you're doing a really good job. I'll be honest, I don't do it every single night, but the inventories do happen. So that's up to you. Whether you care for it or not, it's not in my business. That's integrity. We got Ola, cousin. He's a cousin from Cabo San Lucas. If you're ever out in the Cabo San Lucas area and you're looking for some flowers, hit him up at Cabo Flower Shop. Jim, yep. I like that, and I may steal that. Good, man, steal. So if you steal it and you use it in your groups, say it came from a man named Siamak. Don't say me. Siamak, Siamak. He probably passed away with like 40 years sober or something like that. I don't know. And use it. You can give him credit 3 times. I mean, I still give him credit because he was my guy. Give him credit 3 times, and after that, take it, Tony. Steal it. Tony Dupree's crystal ball analogy. I'm sure you'll make it a little bit better. The next one that we have here is to overcome obstacles by being open-minded. Recovery is riddled and filled with obstacles. You want to know why? Because life is full of obstacles. The same way some days are easy, some days aren't. The same way some days are nice, the sky is blue, the sun is shining, there are days that the storm just doesn't go away. Same way you're just laying on a calm, peaceful ground, there's days that the earth shakes and bad things happen. Recovery is the same way. Now, when you are experiencing those obstacles in your recovery, which you will, whether you're a family member or someone going through it yourself, the only way to get through it is to stop, be open to the experience, strength, and hope of other people who have potentially done that. Now, if I do exactly what someone did, will I get through my situation? Not always, but I'll get through it a little bit more, potentially easier because I got more confidence. And sometimes doing something that they say works 100% of the time for you. But the difference is, can you be open-minded and closed-minded? So here's the analogy that I've been using for over 10 years probably. And it's the difference between an open mind and a closed mind. Okay. So if I'm experiencing an obstacle and a challenge and I go to a group or I go to a counselor or a person, peers, and I take my closed mind in there and I say, how do I get through this obstacle? Tell me how I get through it. And they start dropping knowledge and wisdom and guidance, and they tell me how to get through it. But my fist is closed. I walk out of there, all of their stuff just hits my hand and falls off. I walk out of there back to my obstacle, and I'm like, I can't get through this. It's too difficult. But if I walk to a room with my obstacles, say, this is what I'm challenged, this is what I'm struggling with, these are my challenges, and I open my mind, and they tell me how to get through it or what they did to get through it and all that kind of stuff, I can walk away from that room, take everything they told me. When I face the obstacle or the challenge, I can get through it. That's the difference between an open mind and a closed mind. And you could take that analogy to anything in life. The reason why it's so important to be open-minded. So in the program, there's this little triangle we have: honesty, willingness, open-mindedness. You got to be honest about what you're going through in life, right? You have to be open-minded to take some suggestions, and then you got to be willing to act upon those suggestions. And if you do that triangle, good things happen. They call that the how of the program. So people say, how does this whole thing work? That's the how. Honesty, willingness, open-mindedness, whatever order you want to do this thing. Okay? Let's see what we got here. Life doesn't get easier. The way I deal with it gets better. Yep. Perspective. Jim said, the newer your recovery, the bigger the obstacles appear. Absolutely. That's a perspective thing. So when you're going through everything for the first time with sober eyes, they just are like Mount Rushmore. It's like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? How the heck am I going to go through this? But then once you get through it one time, the next time you see it, it's a little bit smaller. It's just life. And when you see it the next time, it's going to be a little bit smaller. So the perspective we have is very related, correlated based on the experience we have with that experience. And usually the recovery process, one of the things it does, it makes us be able to right size our problems. We all got problems. But once you start getting some solutions to those problems, the problems appear a little bit differently. Now, there's nothing in life I can't get through today. How do I know that? Because I've gone through all of it. All of it. Literally all of it. And, in terms of those experiences that people say, how can I get through this if this happens? Check them all off. And here's the thing. Was it easy getting through it? Hell no. It was horrible. Severe depression. Struggled through it. Some days we're just like, how am I going to get through this? But you get through it, one breath at a time. Jim, someone's agree with you. This is one of the ways I stay clean. I don't buy drugs, don't have people bring me drugs, don't have any on me in my house, etc. I love recovery. Never thought I would say that in my life. And most of us, Terry, that say we love recovery, probably safe to say we never thought we'd say that in our lives. You know what I mean? Like, we love drugs, we love alcohol, we love the effects produced by drugs and alcohol. We just don't like the consequences produced by drugs and alcohol. I always tell people that, someone that says, hey, they don't, they have something negative to say about drugs or alcohol. I'm like, man, you like the effects, but the side effects, the negative side effects, the consequences, I get why you don't like that, because I don't like that either. And at some point in life, those become greater than the positive effects. I mean, as simple as that. And we all know sometimes the positive effects completely go away too. You just kind of get high, get by, don't even feel nothing, which is pretty tough. The next one we have here is the V of recover means V.I.P. V.I.P. means very important person. So what I'm going to tell you here, this is truth. If you want your recovery to last, if you want to obtain recovery, maintain recovery, you have to be the most important person in your recovery. And that includes your parents, it includes your children, it includes your siblings. And you might say, nope, there's no way I'm putting my kid below me ever. I'm always going to put my kid above me. If you do that, that's okay. It's not like your life's not going to change. Like, nothing bad's going to happen. But you're always going to be the second best version of yourself. And the second best version of yourself to your kid, still honorable. But if you put yourself first and become the best version of yourself, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, you become stronger. And let that person take care of your children. What a difference that would be. See, if you really, really, really understand the concept of why it's important to put yourself first, then you'll realize that it's not a selfish act. It's actually selfless. And sometimes people don't understand that. They'll call you selfish because they don't understand it. The more you invest in yourself, one of the reasons is because the more you can invest in others. See, I've yet to come across a person that really puts themselves first and has a good desire to help or has a good heart and all that kind of stuff. There's some people that put themselves first and they don't care about anyone else. I mean, that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about the people that want to care for others. They care about their brothers or sisters, society. They want to do good. Those people, when they feel good, they do good. When they're investing in themselves, they just go dump it right back to others. And that's the mindset you got to have. So when someone thinks you're selfish for that, see, that's a good example. I mean, Tony, I don't know how much of a story I'm going to share or can share, but raised a beautiful daughter pretty much, I mean, honestly, when I say on his own, working full-time the whole time. And despite of all that, even though everything he did was for that daughter, he made sure that he took care of himself first, because a half version of Tony could not have taken care of that daughter. And there's the proof in the pudding. You can share it all. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe next time, Tony. Maybe I'll have you jump on here or something. We'll do a live stream together. You can share it all, actually. And then I can ask you questions about it. Actually, I haven't done one of those in a while. So maybe we could do a combined group in a couple weeks, though. Next week, I can't. The next one here is your effort. In life, you only get out what you put in. I don't care what people say. You only get out what you put in this thing called life. Now, if you go day by day and put in 30%, 40%, 50%, and you're having very, very, very average, mediocre, below average experiences, and you get resentful at this thing called life, you really have to look and say, why do I expect to get something more than I'm willing to give? Where did that expectation come from? When did that entitlement come from? Where did that I deserve this come from? Now, if someone's giving it their all, day after day, week after week, and they have the right mindset and perspective, and they don't, they don't want too much of this and that, they'll get what they need in life. They'll get what they need. And guess what? Once they get it, they're even grateful for it. And that's the difference between it. It all comes down to mindset and effort. And the thing about effort is you don't receive the rewards of it right away. A lot of people that come into recovery are instant gratification junkies. So they put in a little bit of work. They want the results right now. It's like putting the apple seed in the ground and they want to eat the apple. Like, dude, you got to wait for that apple to become a freaking tree. Maybe give a little seed here and there. And one day you got a whole ass apple. But it ain't happening anytime soon. So that's the effort. And the last one that I have here is to rewrite your story. The best way I can share this one with you is life is like a book or a movie, whatever you want to call it. Your life has had multiple chapters up until this moment. And if you want to do a fun therapeutic exercise, maybe go put 10 chapters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. However old you are, the more or the less. It's related to age. And then name each one a chapter. Name each chapter a name. It's actually really fun. Based on what you experienced during that chapter, give it a name. And you'll quickly realize that life has been so different and so beautiful and so horrible and so challenging and so rewarding and so blah, 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 blah. You'll really quickly realize it. And there's no like rhyme or rhythm or reason or theme to this thing. It's wild. It just got written. Now, the beauty of this is now you can put, 10 more chapters, 7 more chapters, 5 more chapters, whatever it is, number them off. And what would you want the rest of those chapters to look like? If you're the main character, how would you want that main character to live his life or her life or their life? If you want an outcome of this book, what do you want that outcome to be? How do you want it to end? And the beauty of this is you get to write it. Each day, each action you take, you're writing a book. And those actions you take on a daily basis end up writing the chapter. Because if you don't take charge and take control of writing this book, it's gonna write itself. And what if you don't like what it's writing? What if you look back one day and say, oh my God, this is one of the worst books of all time, and I could have done something different with it? So that's a feeling that, you got to come across and you got to figure out on your own. But this is a good talk. If you feel free to share this with anyone you want. Next week, Saturday, I believe I'm in a pickleball tournament. It's a golden ticket national qualifier ticket. So it's going to be a stressful day, but I'll be back 2 weeks from now. And I look forward to seeing you all here, healthy, ready to go. And I love and appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye, everyone.